Hello everyone. Hi, this is Alok Ojha. Welcome back to Classroom series of Modern Indian History. As you can see on the board today, our major topic of discussion is Muslim reform movements. We are going through Renaissance and socio-religious reform movements, and by now we have covered varied aspects such as specifically Brahmo Samaj, Adi Brahmo Samaj. Apart from this, Brahmo Samaj of India. What was the role of Debendranath Tagore ji? What was the role of specifically Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji in abolishing sati in India, or precisely in the region of Bengal? Then we had seen Arya Samaj and Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission. In the past video, we had seen about the Renaissance and socio-religious reform movements precisely in southern part of India. What is the role of Justice Party? What was self-respect movement initiated by E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar ji all about? What is Ezava movement? Who was Narayan Guru? What is Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalan Yogam? So we have studied all this in quite depth and detail in the past session. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the Muslim reform movements. And here we would be majorly focusing on Wahhabi movement, Titumir movement, Ahmadiyya movement, and reforms that were being initiated by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. There are other movements as well, such as Deoband movement. Apart from Deoband movement, Paraizi movement. But you can expect questions majorly from these four sections. And here, the topic is socio-religious reform movements. So before we understand about the reforms that were being initiated by different leaders in the Muslim society, we need to understand specifically what is Islam all about. You will understand that why I am discussing all these things. What is Islam all about? What are the core principles of Sufism? What are the core principles of Islam? Okay. And what are four schools of thought of Islamic jurisprudence? So we are going to throw light in today's session on these different aspects. So please stick in the video till the end, because session is very important. Okay, let's begin. The word Islam, it is believed that the word Islam has been derived, which basically means surrender to one particular entity, and that is Allah. As per the Holy Book Quran, there are totally 25 prophets. And Prophet Muhammad, also referred as Paigambar Sahab, he was the 25th prophet. Islam took birth at a place called as Makkah, which is located in Saudi Arabia, with the birth of Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad Sahab, he was born to Abdullah and Amina. Abdullah was his father, Amina was his mother. Before his birth, his father passed away. And 5 to 6 years after his birth, his mother Amina also passed away. So Muhammad Sahab or Paigambar Sahab, he was being raised up by his uncle, whose name was Abu Talib. And Abu Talib had one more son whose name was Ali. So Muhammad Sahab and Ali both are cousins. So initially they did not have that much of money, or Abu Talib did not have that much of money so that he could sponsor their education. So he was being raised as a shepherd. At a very young age of 25 to 26, he was married to a rich widow, Khadija Begum. And around the age of 40, he realized that he is Nabi and Rasul. Nabi means a perfect man, and Rasul means a messenger. He has been sent by that Allah to spread a message. And his teachings became quite famous in the region of Makkah. But apart from his followers, there were many of his opponents as well. So he was forced to migrate from Makkah to Medina. And this in the history of Islam is referred as Hijrat or Hajj. Here in Medina, he constructed a mosque and he passed away. Now it is believed that there was dissenting opinion among the people. Now who should take forward the teachings of Prophet Muhammad? Who should succeed Prophet Muhammad? So many of them believe that Prophet Muhammad should be succeeded by a person from his bloodline, either his brother or one of the sons. On the other hand, some believe that Prophet Muhammad should be succeeded specifically by a person who is chosen by consensus by the people. So those who believe that Prophet Muhammad should be succeeded by a person who is chosen by consensus are referred as Sunni. And those who believe that Prophet Muhammad should be succeeded by a person from his bloodline, they are referred as Shia. So Prophet Muhammad Sahab was succeeded by Abu Bakr by Umar. Before Usman, it is Umar. After Umar, it was Usman. After Usman, Ali. So the followers of Ali are referred as Shia. Why? Because Ali was a blood relative of Prophet Muhammad. He was a brother. He was a cousin brother of Prophet Muhammad or Paigambar Sahab. Okay? And all these are referred as Rashidun. Rashidun means rightly guided caliph or khalifa who followed the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad. Okay? Now, as per Islam, hope you understood this basic concept. Moving ahead. As per Islam, there are 5 fundamental pillars of Islam. The first fundamental principle basically speaks about La ilaha illallah and Muhammad or Rasul. Allah is one and his Rasul, that is messenger, is also one, that is Paigambar Sahab. Second, Salat or Salah. Simple words, offering prayers or namaz to Allah. It is a duty of everyone to offer daily prayers, specifically on daily basis 5 times prayer to Allah. And this is referred as namaz. Fajr ki namaz, Fajr ki namaz, Duhar ki namaz, Zuhar ki namaz, Maghrib ki namaz, Isha ki namaz, and so on. Whatever you are earning, it's your responsibility to donate at least 2 to 2.5% of that as a charity, which would be utilized for the underprivileged section of the society. And that is referred as zakat. Observing rigorous fasting in the holy month of Ramadan, also referred as Roza. At least once in a lifetime, a Islamic follower should go to Hajj. That is, you should traverse a path from Makkah to Medina. And the person who has completed Hajj is referred as Mustati. I repeat, a person who has completed Hajj is referred as Mustati. So these are the 5 fundamental principles of Islam. Now comes Sufism. Now what is Sufism all about? Now Sufism, they had a very simple belief. And they believed in one simple aspect. And what was that? Sufism believed that the relationship between the Allah and human being, that is God and human being, is not like the slave and masters. In fact, the relation between Allah, that is God, and human being is like the 2 lovers. They believed in the concept of Peer and Murid. Peer means teacher, Murid means disciple. And they believe that it is not necessary to offer 5-time prayers to Allah on daily basis, to observe Roza in the holy month of Ramadan, but service to humanity, service to Allah. So their belief was simple. And apart from this, there were 2 sects, specifically speaking, Bashara and Beshara. Bashara means those who were bounded by Islamic law, and Beshara were those who were not bound by any Islamic law. In fact, it is also believed that there were different silsilas. Silsila basically means there were different ideological perspectives. Chishti silsila, Qadri silsila, Suharwardi silsila, and so on. So these Sufi saints had many followers. And after the death of these Sufi saints, these followers constructed their tomb. And that was referred as Dargah. And there was a practice. And the practice was, at least once in a year, one should visit that Dargah. One should visit the Dargah of the Peer. Peer means teacher. And the practice of visiting the Dargah was referred as Ziyarat. That is, practice of visiting the Dargah or the tomb of a Sufi saint. So all these were the practices that are prevalent in Islam. So this was the basic crux. Now, there are 4 schools or 4, schools of thought of Muslim jurisprudence. and they were founded at different places. They have practitioners at different places. Now let's understand them within next 1 minute. Hope you have understood the concept till here. Let's move ahead. Now there were 4 imams of the 4 different schools. First school was Hanafi school, then Maliki school, Shafi school, and finally Hanbali school. Now who was the founder of Hanafi school? It was Abu Hanifa. Now he focused on majorly that their methodology was majorly based on Quran, and secondly it was based on Qiyas. Qiyas basically means analogical reasoning. So it was not just following the ayats or verses of Quran directly as taught by the Caliph, but also going for analogical reasoning. And the followers of Hanafi school are majorly prevalent in South Asia and Turkey. Then comes Maliki school, and Maliki school was founded by Malik ibn Anas. Now, they followed whatever is written in Quran and whatever the people of Medina practice, Amal. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example. What did the people of Medina practice? As I've told you previously, offering 5-time namaz, following the practice of zakat, that is giving charity. In the holy month of Ramadan, observing rigorous fasting, that is roza. At least once in a lifetime, one should go to Hajj. So all these are the practices of the people that were being followed in Medina. That was also emphasized by Maliki school. And the followers of Maliki school are majorly present in the northern and western part of Africa. Now, Shafi school, it was founded by Ibn Idris al-Shafi. I understand the names are a bit difficult to remember, but at least remember the schools of thought. So, Ibn Idris al-Shafi. So, traditions of Prophet Muhammad and Ijma. Ijma means whatever people decide by consensus, that should be followed. And it is majorly practiced in eastern part of Africa and Middle East countries. Yemen, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and so on. So it is practiced in these countries. And finally comes Hanbali school. So all these schools have different shades of opinion regarding the interpretation of Quran, regarding the interpretations of the teachings of Prophet Muhammad and different caliph. So now comes what? Now comes socio-religious reform movement. Okay. And for that sake, first of all, we'll study the Wahhabi movement which got initiated around 18th century. Okay. Now, as per Charter Act 1813, there are different clauses as per Charter Act 1813, and we have seen that clauses in quite depth and detail. As per Charter Act 1813, it is said that monopoly of English East India Company got ended, but not completely. The monopoly was still kept intact in terms of tea and China. Correct? Apart from this, it is also believed that as per Charter Act 1813, English East India Company will spend rupees 1 lakh for the purpose of education. And the most important one, as per Charter Act 1813, it is believed that Christian missionaries were allowed to come in India and preach Christianity. So, preaching Christianity, practicing Christianity, professing Christianity, it's a different aspect. And forcing the people to accept that religion is altogether a very different aspect. So, precisely speaking, it is said that there were many, like it is said that Christianity was being imposed on the people of India. Correct? And Islam was not left behind. We have seen the Vellore mutiny which took place in 1806. In this, specifically certain laws were being passed by Lord Howe and John Craddock, wherein we were feeling that we are getting Christianized, rather it be the Hindus or the Muslims. Okay, so specifically speaking, here it is a socio-religious reform movement. So it is a reform movements within Islam as well as the reform movements that will have a large impact on the Islamic society. Hence, it is called as socio-religious reform movement. Okay. Apart from this socio-religious reform movements, in certain cases, also took a political overturn. how we will throw light on that as well. So let's begin with Wahhabi movement, which began around 18th century in Arabia or in Arabian Peninsula. So its founder was Muhammad ibn al-Wahhab. Hence it is called as Wahhabi movement. And its key proponent or key leaders in India included Syed Ahmed Barelvi, Shah Ismail Dehelvi, Vilayat Ali and Inayat Ali. So usually the questions that is asked in the examination, Syed Ahmed Barelvi, he is correlated with which one of the major movements in India? So he is associated with Wahhabi movement. And Wahhabi movement, it got very famous in the region of Punjab, northwestern frontier provinces, Bihar and Bengal. In fact, in the region of Bihar and northwestern provinces, specifically said that the followers of Wahhabis, they used to sensitize the Islamic followers against the exploitative character of the British rule in India. Apart from the socio-religious reform movements, in simple words, Wahhabi movement focused on harmony between the four schools of thought. Hence, we had discussed these four schools of thought. Ahmadiyya movement will also focus on the harmony between four schools of thought. So, they focused, like, apart from this focusing on the religious reforms, they also conducted secret meetings in the region of Bihar, that is in the region of Patna and northwestern frontier provinces against the Britishers. Okay, and in northwestern frontier provinces, they conducted jihad against the colonial forces. Now, what is jihad? Jihad basically means Darul Harb into Darul Islam. Okay, and in Bengal, the followers of Wahhabi movement were also opposed to Britishers and Zamindars. We have already seen about the Zamindari system. As a part of Zamindari system, Zamindar used to act as a middleman between company on one side and the peasants on the other. Correct? Now, these Zamindar used to collect the revenue from the peasant, keep his commission and give excess amount of money to the company. 89% of the revenue went to the company, 11% was kept by Zamindar as his commission. Now, English East India Company had given a complete free hand to Zamindar that we want the money at fixed date and fixed rate, by hook or crook. And in such a situation, Zamindars were allowed to maintain latiyals, that is bodyguards. And these Zamindars, apart from the fixed or recorded land revenue, they used to extract surplus amount of money from the peasants. And in such cases, these Zamindars were being supported by the English East India Company. So the followers of Wahhabi movement, what did they do? In the region of Bengal, they protested, or they raised, what we say, an army, a small parallel army against the Zamindar and the Britishers as well. Now, this is about the reforms that were introduced in the society. Now, what about the reforms in the religion? They believed in something called as monotheism, Tawheed. Simple word, Islam basically believes in one simple concept, no idol worship and belief in only one God, that is Allah. While back we have seen a simple ayat, and that is La ilaha illallah and Muhammadur Rasul. That is, Allah is one and his messenger is also one. Then Hadith. Hadith basically means sayings and doings of Prophet Muhammad. Whatever simplicity, tolerance, peace that has been taught in the religions are included in Hadith. And first of all, they were completely opposed to one more thing. Now, Wahhabi movement, now why they were opposed to they were opposed to different aspects. First of all, they were opposed to Sama. Now, as we have seen right back, Sama is nothing but musical congregation that was followed by Sufis. They were opposed to saint veneration. Saint veneration, basically, we have seen that. The Sufis believed in the concept of Pir and Murid. Pir means teacher. Murid means disciple. It's a duty of a disciple to visit the tomb or dargah of his murid. Sorry, it is a duty of murid to visit the tomb or dargah of his Pir, that is teacher. And that is called as ziyarat. And this is nothing but saint veneration. So the Wahhabi followers were opposed to saint veneration. They were opposed to Sama. They were opposed to all these kind of things that one should, like specifically, yes, they believed that one should follow namaz, one should follow zakat, one should observe roza. So they believed in fundamentalistic principles of Islam, and they wanted to revive this back. So they believed in something called as hadith, sayings and doings of Prophet Muhammad and different Rashiduns, that is Caliph. They also condemned the festivals like Maulid. Maulid means celebrating the birthday of Prophet Muhammad or celebrating the birthdays for that sake of any Khalifas or Caliph. Because this practice has never been practiced by Prophet Muhammad, neither in Makkah nor in Medina. So they wanted to restore back the original principles of Islam. So this is nothing but Wahhabi movement. Hope you understood why we studied what is Islam all about. What are the 5 fundamental principles of Islam? What are the core principles of Sufism? What are the 4 schools of thought of Muslim jurisprudence? So these were necessary to understand so that you can understand the further coming movements, that is Wahhabi movement and Ahmadiyya movement. Clear, my friends? So this was all in short about Wahhabi movement. Let's move further with Titumir movement. Okay. Now, who was Titumir? Then how Titumir is connected with Nar Kelberia uprising, also referred as Barsat uprising. Okay, let's understand. So now this is socio-religious movement which now took a political overturn. And how did it take a political overturn? We will understand this. Titumir. Now Titumir, he was born in 1782 at a place called as Chandpur, also referred as Haidarpur, located in 24 Parganas district. Okay. In 1822, he went to Makkah, and here he met Syed Ahmed of Raebareli. When he met Syed Ahmed of Raebareli, he was quite influenced by his philosophy, his ideological perspective. And in that case, he decided to bring in certain reforms in the Islamic, in the Islamic world or practices of Islam. Like, I'll give you a very simple example so that you can easily correlate different aspects. We have seen Arya Samaj, correct? In the Arya Samaj founder was Mool Shankar ji, correct? His name is Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji. So he started a movement which is referred as Shuddhi movement. And what was Shuddhi movement all about? Those people who are voluntary or forcefully converted into other religions and now are willing to come back into the old fold of Hinduism. For him, he started Shuddhi movement. And in fact, Swami Shraddhanand ji was a strong proponent of Shuddhi movement. And in 1926, he was being assassinated by a radical Muslim, Abdul Rashid. So here, there was a bit of changes that was taken place as a part of Arya Samaj practices, and that was what? Reforms in the Hindu society. Similarly, Titumir, after meeting Syed Ahmed of Raebareli, wanted to bring reforms in the Islamic world, in the Islamic society. And he also focused on the core principles of Quran, core principles of Prophet Muhammad, core principles of what was said by the different Rashiduns or Caliph. But specifically, after 1825, things got changed. Now, there was a movement that got initiated which is called as Nar Kelberia uprising or Barsat uprising. And this was specifically directed against zamindars and Britishers. Okay? Like, precisely speaking, it is said that this person, Titumir, like as I've talked about zamindari system, in zamindari system, zamindar used to act as a middleman, and apart from the revenue or the commission of 11% that he is getting, he used to extract surplus amount of money from the peasants. So now it is believed that he formed a force. Titumir. He formed a force of Muwahid. And it was an army that was raised to fight against whom? To fight against the Zamindar and the Britishers. And this army of Muwahids used to fight with what? They used to fight with bamboo stick. In fact, for the protection of these Muwahids, it is also believed that around 1830, 1831, he had constructed a fort made out of bamboo. So it was also referred as Bamboo Fort, located in Barasat or Narkalberia. And now, it is believed that using the traditional weapon, bamboo, they used to fight with Zamindars and English East India Company. Finally, it was being suppressed by Lord William Bentinck. And the uprising became violent. So it was finally suppressed by Scots, Sutherland, who was being dispatched by Lord William Bentinck. So this is nothing but the Titumir movement, which initiated as a socio-religious reform movement. And with the passage of time, it took a political overturn against the Zamindars and exploitative character of the British rule in India. Hope you understood the Titumir movement, my friends. So this was nothing but a short description about the practices of Islam, the 4 schools of Muslim jurisprudence, then specifically the Wahhabi movement, the Titumir movement, and now we'll focus on Ahmadiyya movement, which is also referred as standard bearer of Mohammedan Renaissance. Now, why it is called a standard bearer of Mohammedan Renaissance? And in fact, it is also compared with Brahmo Samaj philosophy. I'll tell you how. Now, Ahmadiyya movement, it started approximately around 1888, 1889 by Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. So, Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, he was the founder of the famous Ahmadiyya movement. Okay? And the Ahmadiyya movement entirely, it was based on core and liberal principles. Okay? Like, I'll give you a very simple example. They based their principles and teachings were based on peace. It was based on tolerance. It was based on mutual coexistence. So all these principles were very similar to the principles of Brahmo Samaj. Isn't that so? We have seen Brahmo Samaj in quite depth and detail. Okay? We have seen that Brahmo Samaj was based on twin principles of Vedas and Upanishads. But apart from this, there were other principles also that we had seen of Brahmo Samaj. Brahmo Samaj, they focused on education for boys and girls both. The proponents of Brahmo Samaj, Dwarkanath Tagore ji and Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, they focused on education of women as well. They focused on education of the downtrodden section of the society. They focused on peace. They were opposed to priesthood. They were opposed to idol worship. They believed in monotheism because prior to establishment of Brahmo Samaj, way back in 1814, 1815, there was establishment of Atmiya Sabha by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And the basic objective of Atmiya Sabha was to preach monotheism. Similarly, here as well, Ahmadiyya movement, they focused on simplicity of religion. Religion based on peace, religion based on tolerance, religion based on monotheism. And the most important one, humanity is above everything. Okay. Now, specifically in 1914, there was split in Ahmadiyya movement. So, Ahmadiyya movement, it was initiated by Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. Later on, it was being propagated by Khalifa Hakim Nuruddin. But after the death of Khalifa Hakim Nuruddin in 1914, there was a split. There were 2 schools of thought of Ahmadiyya movement. One was Qadiani, also referred as Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And the second was Lahore Ahmadiyya movement. Now, I'll tell you, Ahmadiyya to an extent were so liberal that after partition in 1947, many of the followers of Ahmadiyya, they moved to the region of Pakistan. And in fact, in 1974, a law was passed in the Pakistan parliament wherein the followers of Ahmadiyya movement were considered as non-Muslim despite Ahmadiyyas opposed to it. So Ahmadiyyas specifically were quite liberal in comparison to the followers of Titumir, in comparison to the followers of Wahhabi such as Syed Ahmed Barelvi. So hence, Ahmadiyya movement is also referred as standard bearer of Mohammedan Renaissance. Okay, moving ahead. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan and Aligarh movement. Now, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, let me give you a glimpse about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan in short. Indian National Congress, it was formed on 28th December 1885 at a place called as Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay. And the first session of Indian National Congress was presided by Vomish Chandra Banerjee and attended approximately by 72 delegates. The second session of Indian National Congress was presided by the first Parsi leader, Dadabhai Navroji, who is also referred as the Grand Old Man of India. And it was held at Calcutta. The third session of Indian National Congress was presided by first Muslim president, Badruddin Tayyabji. And from now onwards, the number of Muslim delegates in Indian National Congress started increasing. And we can see the participation of Muslims increasing in different movements across India. One such movement was Swadeshi movement. But when Indian National Congress was formed, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he believed that Muslim section should stay away from Indian National Congress because he criticized Indian National Congress as a party of politically elite Hindus. Although Sir Syed Ahmad Khan did not form any parallel political party to Indian National Congress, but still he insisted specifically the Muslim section to stay aloof from Indian National Congress. And he was a pro-Britisher because he believed that if we maintain loyalty towards Britishers, some or the other day, we will be repaid back for our loyalty. So in that case, it is said that during he also supported revolt of 1857. And for that, he was given knighthood in 1888. So at that particular point of time, his major agenda was, as we have seen as a part of social-religious reform movements, education is the key for all upliftment. If a person is educationally empowered, automatically he becomes economically empowered. If he is economically empowered, he becomes socially empowered. And when he is socially empowered, he becomes politically empowered. Simple words, education is the key for overall upliftment. And Sir Syed Ahmad Khan knew this. If we maintain loyalty towards Britishers, if we remain pro-Britishers, they will do something for the educational upliftment of the Muslims. And in fact, he also fought the medieval India's backwardness. Like I'll give you simple examples. The Muslim women, in fact, they could not unveil their face to anyone. It was considered as a taboo. Simple words, parda system. Isn't that so? Like I'll give you a very small example. In medieval India, we had studied about Razia Sultan. As a part, like you can understand the parochial and insular mindedness of the society at that time. In medieval India, we had studied Delhi Sultanate. As a part of Delhi Sultanate, we had studied about the slave dynasty. Correct? And as a part of slave dynasty, we had studied about different rulers such as Qutbuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish and so on. Now, Razia Sultana, she was the first female ruler, not only of slave dynasty, but of the entire Delhi Sultanate. When he conducted her court for the first time, it is said that she kept her face unveiled. And at that time, it was a derogatory insult for the people at that time. They believed that, how can a Muslim woman rule over us? First of all, how can a woman rule over us? That was the insular and parochial, mindedness of the people. Correct? And in fact, it was said that Razia Sultan was also criticized that she held the court with her face unveiled. So, parda system. So, there were many social evils that were also prevalent within Muslim society. And Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he focused on eradicating these social evils. It is said that he founded Translation Society. And the purpose of Translation Society was to translate the books of English, mathematics, logic, reasoning, sciences into Urdu and Persian languages for easier understanding of the Muslim section. so that Western education could also be imparted to them. So for that, he started a society called as Translation Society. Apart from this, he started a magazine called as Tehzeeb al-Akhlaq. Okay. And he also advocated English education. As I've told you, specifically, Britishers were initially not at all interested in educating Indians. But when they decided that they are going to spend 1 lakh rupees every year for the purpose of education, there was a controversy. Anglicist Orientalist controversy. Now, Orientalists believe that initially we should educate Indians in their mother tongue or vernacular language. And the higher education should be in English language. On the other hand, what we say Anglicists believe, such as C.B. Saunders, W.W. Bird, okay, Colvin, Bushby, they believe that we need to educate Indians compulsorily in English language because we want Indians by blood and color of their skin. But by their manner, morals and etiquettes, they should be complete Englishmen. True? So, here, he also supported English education because he believed that the panacea for root eradication of social evils prevalent within the society, Muslim society, was imparting them English education. So, he started Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, which later on was also referred as Aligarh Muslim University. The university was modeled on the lines of specifically London University, Cambridge University, and so on. So, what all things that do we need to remember about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan? First of all, he was loyal towards Britishers. He got knighthood in 1888 for his loyalty in Revolt of 1857. Translation Society he started. His magazine was Tehzeeb ul-Akhlaq. Okay. Apart from this, one more thing. The magazine Tehzeeb ul-Akhlaq, it was modeled on the magazine Tatler of London. Then, apart from Translation Society, he started specifically Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, modeled on the lines of London and Cambridge University, which later on came to be referred as Aligarh Muslim University. In the coming years, it is also believed that he also had to face stiff resistance from the fundamentalistic followers of Islam or radical Muslims, which erupted in the form of Deoband movement as well. So this was a short video on the Muslim reform movement, wherein initially we had focused on the certain principles of Islam, followed by, for easier and core understanding of the concept, we have seen 4 schools of thought of Muslim jurisprudence: Wahhabi movement, Titumir movement, Ahmadiyya movement, and Aligarh movement. Please do have a look at Faraizi movement as well, because it is also important from the exam perspective. So hope you understood this. Tomorrow I would be coming up with a short video on Kushal Konwarji. So if you know about Kushal Konwarji, please answer in the comment section who was Kushal Konwarji, what was his contribution in India's freedom struggle precisely in the Quit India movement, as a part of short video, not as a part of classroom series. As a part of classroom series, I would be coming up with the next video on causes and course of revolt of 1857, wherein we would be discussing the things in quite depth and detail. Okay, friends. So, specifically, UPSC Target 2027 GSP2I Foundation Resolution Batch. Okay, it's a November English batch, and the batch has started on 18th of November. Admissions for the batches would be closing today, 25th of November. So today is the last day for the admission of the batch. And the batches are corely available in English language, which will cater to the needs of the aspirants from southern part of India and northeastern India. So the fees for the batch is 20,999, and use the code Alok Live that is flashing on your screen to get the benefits of these batches. The features of batches are available on the website in a quite detailed manner. So you can visit the website of StudyIQIAS. Okay. I'll tell you some of the features, like certain books and PDFs would be provided to you. There would be a mentor who would be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services. Proper answer writing practices, proper focus on the PYQs and the MCQs, proper in a very stipulated time. Entire syllabus would be covered. There would be a proper timetable through which the varied subjects would be covered. Okay. So the last day of the admission for the batch is today. Use the code ALOK LIVE that is flashing on your screen. Apart from this, if anyone has any query, any kind of a doubt, you can fill the form. And the link of the form is given in the description in the comment section. With this, I'll stop my words for the day. See you guys with the next video. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.